What are control rigs? When you're doing 3D animations for the character, it has a skeleton, and that skeleton is binded to the character geometry using weights, or Houdini calls them bone capture weights. When we download a Mixamo character, all this is done for us and the character is ready to go. Then what are control rigs? Control rigs manipulate multiple bones and joints with a single control. In a skeleton, if you move the elbow joint, the elbow moves. It even stretches if you push the character too far. But when you're using control rigs, you can move an IK control and the whole arm moves. You're moving the hand, fingers, elbow, and shoulder rotation all at the same time using a single IK control. Control rigs have been around for a long time. You might have seen them in Unreal Engine with their new modular rig control blueprint and the fancy drag and drop UI. Blender also had it ages ago through add-ons like the AutoRig Pro add-on, and now Houdini has it too. Let me show you how to set up a Mixamo character with the new AutoRig Builder. Let's start off with downloading the Mixamo character, and this is the character that I chose. So just hit download. T-pose is fine, FBX is important, download. Now since I already have it on my hard drive, I'm not going to do it again. Then open up Houdini, drop in a geometry, import the character, import the Mixamo character in here using the FBX character import. So this is important. This is the one that you want. Let me drop this down first. This has the 3 outputs that you need because it's going to separate the skeleton from the base mesh. If you accidentally use this, the file import, this is not going to do it. This is not going to read it correctly. This will just give you the geometry without the skeleton. And the skeleton is really important in using the Apex AutoRig Builder. Now, since I already have mine here, I'm just going to copy this over, cheat, rather than look for it in the hard drive. And if you have any animations attached to it, which I do not, so this is where it goes. This is where it would be. But I don't have any animations. In Mixamo, you can actually choose animations to load onto the character, but more like that's something totally different. Now, to prep this up, you need the Apex pack character. This will put it into the file structure that Apex needs to read. So drop this down. Now, we don't need all of the sockets. Now, the base mesh or the skin will go into here. So if we tooltip this, it'll tell us rest geometry. So that's what's in here. And then this here is the capture pose, which is the skeleton. So that goes there. And this will automatically create the folder structure for us. In order to see the folder structure, come over here, open a new panel. We're going to go to the animations rig tree. This is what we're looking for. Now it's important that you have packed folders chosen over here and not joints, because we want to see the folder structure. Expand this folder structure and you'll see the base and the skeleton. So this is a very simple structure. You can give the character a name. I'm not going to do that just because the AutoRig Builder is a little sensitive. Once you give it a name, it doesn't seem like it wants to work right out of the box. So we'll give it a name later on. We'll just get it into the Apex world. Once you pack it into this structure, this character is slapped onto the Apex world. And I know that because this is giving me a character scene output, which is an Apex scene. So I can take this and now I can start using the AutoRig Builder. There's a warning, but that's okay for now. Now, what you want to do is you need to trigger the AutoRig Builder's configuration system first. So it comes with all these parameters, but they're not set up properly. It will actually try to detect the correct parameter values for this character. It will fail, but that's okay. I just want to show you this, how it generally works first. I'm not in the interactive mode in Viewport. I need to enter the interactive mode. Or you could just press this button over here. This button will trigger it as well. So once you click it, this is the dialog box I'm looking for. I should stop moving this. Let me show it to you. It's telling us a lot of information. What has changed, what the configuration has detected and changed, use FX setup. Make sure that this is true. I know it says 1, but 1 is actually usually used as the true value when you're coding. I think someone just forgot to change it into a string. I mean, I've seen it say false, like the word false. If you see 1, you're good. Now, the next off the primary axis and secondary axis is actually the joint orientations. And we'll get into more detail into that in just later. It auto detects that the left and right, so if you have a left arm and a right arm, you're going to have like a prefix or suffix indicating which one's the left arm and right arm. It automatically detects the L and the R, but Mixamo actually doesn't label the bones like that. It actually spells it out. It doesn't use the abbreviation, the L abbreviation. So we will need to fix that before we can actually get this functional. I want to show you what it looks like when it's invalid, so you know what to do or how to recognize it, because there's no error message that actually pops up. We're gonna click OK because we really don't have a choice by the time we get here. You have to click OK. If you click cancel, it won't do anything. We still need to enter into the interactive mode in the AutoRig Builder. Select the AutoRig Builder node, mouse over the viewport, press enter. Now this will trigger the configuration window again, but we can just press enter. Every single time you enter the interactive mode, it starts up this script, I'm guessing. Let's just click OK. It's the same message. Now, right off the bat, this is not looking right. We're supposed to have a proxy geometry right beside it that shows you all the control rigs that are being built as you drop them in. And it gives you a live sample on the side, but we don't even see the skin over here. This girl over here, Michelle over here, is supposed to just be a wireframe. This setup right now, as is, tells me that something's wrong. This is not what it's supposed to look like. And let's go back up and let's fix the bone names so that Mixamo bone names will be more compatible. You can escape out of this. So we're out of the interactive mode. Just gonna pull this down. Highlight the skeleton. Why don't we do that? Highlight the skeleton, template the skin. Here, I want to see the names. So I'm going to turn this on and immediately you see the names over here, but they're really small. So I'm going to make that a little bigger. Come here, press D. Now go to guides, and then I'm going to make the point marker, which are just the dots, a little bigger. 9, which is, it might be a little too big, but it's fine. And I want the font to be a lot larger. So the largest is large. So you can see this is much better. I mean, it could be larger, but this is all we got. This will be fine. So right off the bat, you can see that Mixamo has these prefixes, Mixamo, org, colon, and then it actually spells out the left word, which is not something the AutoRig Builder will recognize. So that we gotta like fix up. I did a bit of wrangling. I'm gonna briefly go over what I did in the wrangle without getting into too much detail on it. Basically a lot of string manipulation. So this file will be available for my perk members. You're going to get this, and then all you have to do is just copy these wrangles over here. I will highlight them red. This will remove the Mixamo rig colon prefix and change the left word to L underscore or right to R underscore abbreviation that the AutoRig Builder likes to read. Once that's done, we can continue. You can now place it into the pack character, and the AutoRig Builder will understand it a little bit better. There's actually a bit more we have to do because the Mixamo format isn't exactly Apex friendly. There's quite a bit of massaging we need to do with the skeleton and the naming. There's also, it doesn't have a root bone. So let's take a look at the skeleton. Let me drag this, and the way you can look at the skeleton is you drop in a visualize rig, and this is a purely just for visuals. It doesn't modify the project end at all. Press this button and notice how there's these little balls that are created on every single joint. So those are orientations. Now they're really, really small, so you can adjust the scale. Now notice how I'm going to use this and adjust the scale so that we can see this more clearly. And let me change the background to something darker. Okay, that's much better. So you can see the orientation of every single joint, which will become very important in just a second because this will dictate how the pole vectors get generated by the AutoRig Builder. So let's come over here, activate the AutoRig Builder. Now I've showed how to do this, clicking this button over here. And then this will come up again. We know how this works. We're looking for use FK setup 1. Okay, that's good. Click OK. Now we actually have to enter in the AutoRig Builder. So let me get some more real estate. Okay, select the AutoRig Builder, mouse here, press enter. Give it a second. Okay, it's cooking. Okay, and then it activates the same configuration script again. That's fine. Now we can see that this setup looks very different from what we had before. Now let me change the background color back to light. It's very different. Now this is your proxy and this is your skeleton. What we do is we come over here in the component category and we pick something. So let's give it a leg. Drag this leg over to the skeleton. You can see it immediately changes color. We can see the bone right away, and we want to drop it on the leg. Now, don't very carefully notice where you're dropping it. If you drop it at the thigh, notice that it'll think that the foot is part of the IK of the leg, and we don't want that. You want the thigh, the knee, and the ankle. Drop it in the IK root bone, which is the thigh. The thigh is the part that doesn't move in the IK setup. I mean, it will move when you animate it, but as part of the IK chain, that's what anchors it. It'll ask you, left leg, is this what you want? Click OK. Another important tip is that you want to drop in your leg on the left side and not the right side, because it can't mirror the right side. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you the right side. Now, usually, it's a little funky. Usually, on the proxy side over here, it will show you a live demo of the rig control that was created. I don't know what it is. Sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. Later, after my recording, I did discover that you need to enable this auto update option in the builder node to preview the rig controls on the proxy geometry in the viewport. Come out of here, press escape. I need to come out of this and then drop in an apex animate, scene animate node. That's what we're looking for. Oh, there's also an error. Let me see what this is doing. I'll skip binding geos. Let's see. Yeah, I might have escaped that too quickly. Let me do that one more time. Now, apex AutoRig Builder. Take the leg. Here. Leg. And I'm going to drop it in. Okay. Let me check. Oh, after you dropped in your leg build, it will appear in the panel over here. So that's where a leg has appeared. You should be able to modify the scale of the control. But since we don't even see the control over here, let's fix that first. So let's clear this out. I'm just going to redo it one more time. Come here. Let me click this again just to reset everything. Make sure we're in this in a good state. Okay. Now take a leg, drop it in. Okay, we still don't see a demo on the proxy. That's fine. Come out of this. Okay. No warning message. So the last time I might have escaped out of it too quickly. You have to be patient with this AutoRig Builder. It is quite new, so there's little quirks. Oops. Now, let's connect it to the scene animate node because I want to see what controls were being built. Come here, press enter. And you can see that there are IK controls being built, but the pole vector is in the wrong position. Like it's over here. This is the pole vector, and this is the IK tip. So let me raise this up. It still works pretty well, but you can see, let me enable the flat wireframe. Okay, you'll see that it does have twisting issues. For this character, it's not very prominent. Like you might not even see it. There is a bit of twisting issues over here just because it's not really in the right place. If I move it back, if this works for you, it's fine. I will show you how to fix this. If this is good enough for you, you can stop right here. Let me reset all this. So in order to get this guy to come up, you press G. That gives you the parameters of every single control. You have to click the control over here, the tip, and I want to reset this. You press this little sweep button, which is like a broom, which is very jokes, which very clever, the icon. And I have to reset this guy too, the pole vector. Okay, and this pole vector as well. Okay, so we're back at the beginning. Press G again to hide it away. The pole vector should ideally be over here as a starting point because the knees over here, you're going to bend forward. I mean, you can move it over here, but you're starting to see these twisting issues. Again, if this works for you, it's fine. In order to fix that pole vector issue, we actually have to modify the skeleton. So let's come over here and drop a skeleton node. All we have to do is just nudge some of the joint positions. It's not a lot of work, but you need to know what you're modifying. I ended up playing around with this for a few hours to find out what it was trying to do and what it was reading. Let's enable the names. Okay, they didn't save my large name. Okay, there you go. I wonder if I make this darker, it'll it be better. Hopefully this is better to read. Let me pull this down because we need to actually see the joints. Okay, this is good. Now we see the joints. Notice how this is the thigh. This is the knee. So ideally, this one over here is the IK root, which is pinning it down. This one over here is the pull vector, or it will be the pull vector. Now notice how this is almost a straight line. So this line is slightly slanted forward, which is good. This is what Houdini is trying to use to determine if the pull vector will be on the back, like behind the character, or in front of the character, or what we got was on the side, because this, it wasn't sure what to do. If we just nudge this just a bit, come into the skeleton, press enter in the viewport, and what you want is the child composite. Instead of enable that, sorry, and then create, for the mode create, we do not want to create. We're just modifying because we're just nudging it. I find that it's much easier to use freehand rather than view-based, because view-based, it'll just fly everywhere. So since we're just nudging it just a bit, freehand is fine. Tweak mode, because we're just changing it. We're not creating anything. Now this, I know that's a lot of options, but what is neat about the child composite is that if we move this bone over here, it will not affect anything else in the skeleton. So this option is very important. I'm going to move it, just nudge it a bit so it's more in front of this bone. So it's actually relative to the thigh. It just has to be in towards the z-axis a bit more than the thigh. It has to be in front of the thigh. I hope that makes sense. Now let's go and see how this setup, that little nudge, affected the pull vectors. Let's go back to the AutoRig Builder. Now we will have to remove whatever we had before. So come here and I'm going to go to the build, clear, because I don't want that. I'm going to remove the names as well. Now you might want to update this again, just in case, just to get a clean start. Take the leg, drop it in again, a thigh. Yes, let's exit out of this and go to the scene animate. In the scene animate, this looks a little weird, doesn't it? That's because it's taking the pose that we had before and it's remembering it. This guy caches like crazy. So once you see something, it's like, why is it different? It's actually taking what poses you had before and it's applying, it's trying to make sense of your change while still keeping your previous changes. Press the reset all. Now, okay, this is a clean start. It will remove all the cache. This looks so much better. So it's the pull vector is no longer on the side. So this works a lot better. So that's not too big of a change to get that working. However, let me undo this. It is not exactly aligning with the level of the knee. You can tell that these two pull vectors are quite apart. They're not right in front of it. And we have to go back to the skeleton again. What it's actually looking for in the skeleton that affects this pull vector. I'm going to look at the visual rig. Back to the 2 view, but this time I'm going to look at the front view. That over here, that's the thigh. Now, if this were straight, it would be like a straight line like that. So you can tell that it's slanted to the side. The same thing with the right leg as well. It's slanted a bit to the side. So you can see there's a bit of gap over here. It's not completely straight. That is what the AutoRig Builder is reading for the pull vectors. That explains why it's going further outwards. And you guessed it, if we come into the skeleton mode, press enter. Again, you have to click the child composite, modify, freehand, tweak, modify. Select this, nudge it just a bit so it's a teeny bit closer. You have to be very careful with this one because it's very sensitive. It will end up being super close. So don't go too much, just a teeny bit of nudge. I think I nudged it too much. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's see what we got. And again, I have to remove the build that we had before. So clear in the AutoRig Builder. Come over here, press enter again. And press OK, we know that. Now let's drop down a leg. Press OK. Escape, come to the scene animate, reset. Now, this looks so much better, doesn't it? It's much more aligned. So the original skeleton affects the IK leg a lot. The same goes for the arm. If I go back to the AutoRig Builder, I'm going to go to the arm and I want to drop down. Now I still haven't shown you the right side yet, but it's fine. We'll get to that. Okay, the arm, not so good because the pole vector is over here. Our arm, that's our arm over there. So the pole vector ideally should be somewhere up here because the elbow is going to bend upwards since this shell is in a T-pose. So again, we use that same thing, the same concepts. We need to nudge that elbow bone a little higher because it needs to be in relativity from the IK root, which is the shoulder bone. So it needs to be offset from there. Now let's just go to the skeleton, enter in. Again, child's composite, modify, freehand, tweak. Okay, click this, move it just a bit. Same thing with the elbow on the right side, move it just a bit. Come to the AutoRig Builder, clear, because I need to rebuild this. Okay, leg, drop, okay. And then arm, drop, okay. Right, now let's go to the enemy. There we go. Much better pole vectors for the arms. So that's how you fix that. Now let's move on to the spine. The spine will be here. Now, I'm not going to drop it on the hips, the spine. It's asking for the spine, click OK. Let's go to the scene enemy. Now, this is what I wanted you to see. The yellow controls, these little circles, squares, those are the controls that the spine component created in the AutoRig Builder. One thing first. Now, I said I would show you what happened if you dropped in the limb into the right side instead of the left side. Okay, I can't see where this is, sorry, because everything's black. Get a leg, and I'm going to drop it into the right side. And then immediately after you click OK, it tells you that it cannot mirror it. Do you want to continue? You can click cancel and it won't do anything. If you click OK, what it does, it makes an IK. It tries to make an IK chain for only the right leg. So then you have to make another one for the left leg. So that's something to be aware of. It can only mirror from left to right. Remember, Michelle doesn't have a root bone coming straight out of Mixamo. But this video was getting ridiculously too long, so the process of adding a root bone is going to be reserved for my perk members. Then this has a root bone now. Let's see how the AutoRig Builder likes this. It might like this a lot more. Since we have a root bone, let's drop this in as well. Oh, it didn't get... Oh, this is not updated. Oops, cancel. So it's actually not getting my root bone. Let's go in one more time. Let's take a look. Let's take a closer look. Let's see if the root bone's actually there. Did we add it? So the root bone is there. So we got rid of the names, the skeleton. It should be fine. We nudged it. Oh, right. This skeleton node caches. Right. So we have to nudge it one more time. So, or I could take this root and add it at the end after all this. It'd probably be easier that way. So we can keep the cached skeleton. The skeleton node caches, so it doesn't know about the root bone. It's just pulling up whatever we had before. So let's take this, let's add it to the cache. So the cache is updated. Okay, now let's see how the AutoRig Builder likes it. Now I have to come here and clear this again. So this should be second nature to by now. Roots, there we go. It's picking up the root now. So I'm just gonna drop it in the root, yeah, sure. The Mixamo character rig is procedurally generated with their system. That's why every single rig looks the same. It is not perfect, and it requires a bit of finessing to get it the same world. And the AutoRig Builder is quite new, so we got to give it a chance. All right, so we got the spine, we got the IK controls, the pole vectors, and we have a root. The good thing about the root is that you can move it around without affecting anything else. So if you had a walking cycle and you just want to move the character forward without breaking your walking cycle, that's where the root comes in handy. So the root control is very important. And also, so this moves everything. So say we have this. You move this guy, move her forward. Oh, not that. I wanted to move the middle one forward. Okay. Take this or take this root control and I want to rotate it. Now you can rotate it around this pivot. Although it doesn't really matter now that in Houdini's Apex animate nodes, we actually have locators. So you can create dynamic pivot points. So this doesn't really matter. So that is how you get a Mixamo character in here. And I said I would show you how to change the character name. Because we look in the rig, her file structure is still flat. By the time we get to the AutoRig Builder, we have a working rig. We can go Apex scene, add character. This will add a character to the scene. So purple goes to purple. So we can change the name over here. So it's looking for $OS. That's actually the name of the node. So let's give it Michelle. Okay. Now, if we look in here, we have a nice name. Now her file structure looks way more organized. So that's how you can actually change the name. It's a quick tip, I guess. It doesn't seem like it matters much right now because we only have one character. If you have a larger scene with like 10 characters, it'll start to get messed up, especially the folder structure and the naming. Thanks for watching and sticking to the end.